Bonsoir, and good morning, Afghanistan. And I know I joke about Afghanistan, but it's really been hit Michigan hard in the last few weeks. We've had a lot of people get killed over there, got their ass blown off for no goddamn good reason. And it's a lot like Vietnam. I mean, I gotta tell you, that's why I say good morning, Afghanistan. You know, I've been befriended a few Vietnam veterans. I do side work. I'm a American in distress, working class poor, non-consumer. My 1994 pickup truck that's leaking everything. But I befriended some Vietnam veterans, and you know, I mean, these guys have their problems, drinking, smoking, drugs, and shit in their past. You know, when they were younger, and yeah, and then now they're dying. And the thing is that people, their family tells them, "Well, drinking's going to kill you, or those drugs are going to kill you, or the smoking's going to kill you." But what's killing them is the goddamn Agent Orange. It's eating their insides. It's happening to a lot of Vietnam vets. It's really, it took, you know, like 40 years to manifest, but it's the results of that: the kidney failure, the liver diseases, and other muscular problems and degenerative bone problems, rapidly progressing. You know, once they meet a certain age, and that was all from Agent Orange. They were up in the front lines, and one guy I'm really befriended with, I do a lot of electrical work for his house. He was on the front. He was a artillery guy, forward, you know, those fire posts in Vietnam, and the same things happened in Afghanistan, Iraq. They were either poisoned by radiation or just crazy chemicals that they're injected with, and you know, and other things. It's not going to end. And on a lighter note, the reason I say Bonsoir, because while most Americans are stocking up on guns and ammunition and food, I'm stocking up on Canadian ice, Canadian Molson ice. I figure when those Canadian hordes come pouring across the borders over here, right neck over here, they're right there. I mean, they're not even, you know, 200 yards away. I'm going to be ready for them. Not with the gun or anything like that, but with the beer. So I love you, Canadians. So just remember that when you come, you know, and taking back the land that we took from you back in 1812. But anyway, the politicians. Well, let's go to Bill Ford first, and my old truck. Bill Ford says in a soundbite that the American potential of the car market is gigantic, huge, because most the ages of the most cars nowadays are like 11, 12 years old. Mine's like 20 years old, something like that. But anyway, he says people will be buying new cars because it's cheaper to buy a new car and pay the payments than it is to maintain an old car. And there is maintenance fees on old cars. I got to replace the radiator and some other stuff, but the maintenance fees are a lot cheaper than if you add everything up. It's cheaper than a car payment. Now, I know people making 13 bucks an hour, maybe 14 bucks an hour, a couple of them. I mean, that's all they're paying now. That's top pay nowadays and around here in Detroit area. That's good money, even though you can't afford. You're a non-consumer, but I mean, at least you're making enough to buy food and keep up your old 20-year-old car. But Bill Ford says that people will be buying cars. I will not buy a new car ever again. And they want to sucker you into a lease by making the lease payments cheaper. That way they have, you never get out of that lease cycle because you never save up enough money to buy a car of your own. So you're continually in the lease cycle, in the high insurance cycle, and all that other bullshit. You know, people they're crazy. I know people making 13, 14 bucks an hour, like I was saying, that have huge car payments. They make 8-year loans, man. 500, 600 bucks a month to drive a car, and then that doesn't include insurance or gas. So that's all they can afford is their car. They can't afford an apartment. They can't afford nothing. Well, I can't afford anything. I drive this, but I, you know, use my money for other things. I get to school, and you know, I'm paying off huge debts, man. Huge debts. So I don't own a home anymore, and I rent, sort of. And I'm driving a car, and I'm not buying a new car. I'll never buy a new car again. That's just ridiculous. If I had $1 million tomorrow, I wouldn't buy a new car. You know, I like the old cars. Now, politics. Joe Biden says that, look at this. I'm out in nature every day, and that's why I haven't been making a lot of videos. Between my researching of the Middle East, it's been consuming a lot of my time, and just being out in nature. I'm out in nature every single day. This is freaking beautiful out here. This is this is where everybody needs to work if you have to work for low wages. And really, my wages now that the big three wages are down to like 13 bucks an hour, heck, my wages are more than them. But and used to in the economy in Michigan, or especially the greater Detroit area, based a lot of their wage scales on the big three, what they were making. If you were working in a secondary factory and big three's making 20 bucks an hour, you might get 15. But now that the big three's getting like 13, 14, 15, you're going to get 8 or 9 in these other secondary job shops. And waitresses and teachers and all across the board, everybody's getting cuts. Everybody. And we had huge layoffs here in Michigan, and nothing was said about it. The jobs report came out, it was miserable again, and it'll be readjusted even lower. The stock market goes up on some kind of promise that the EU bank, like the Fed, buys all the US bonds. And I don't think they're even supposed to do that constitutionally. And the EU is going to buy all the EU bonds, and they're going to print more fake money. And the stock market goes up because of it. But that's okay with me because I work for rich folks who probably make a lot of money off the stock market. So anyway, I got a telephone call. I just want to throw a few thoughts out there on a beautiful, beautiful Friday morning out on the island, going to work. Duck out.